Hey guys, how are you? Um, so I'm coming to you today. Today is Sunday, July 13th. Um, and I am going to record these segments. So last week, let me give you a backstory. Last week, I did not do a live stream on Wednesday and Friday as I normally do. Um, because I'm trying to take things in a different direction. So, every time you come up with another idea, you have to like pivot, stop, start again until you get it right. And so last week I had a lot on my plate and I wasn't getting it right, right? So, I did not go live on Wednesday and Friday. Um, So I want to do a recording of those segments and place them here on YouTube for my YouTube family. So the theme of Wednesday's segment on July the 8th was Walk It Out Wednesday. Walk It Out Wednesday. And Walk It Out Wednesday, my topic is walking away is still walking forward. Okay. Um, so thank you for pressing the play button. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I hope you listen all the way through because I promise you my message will be a blessing. So, I am Princess, your host of Cup of Cocoa and Chat. And I'm building a community where we sip, share, and start the day with intention, encouragement, and a little something that's warm for your soul. I normally drink a cup of cocoa. It is summer now, so I do cold cocoa, right? That's a thing in India, and I love it. Um, so I sip and share and start the day with intention with my viewers. I stream live on Wednesdays and Fridays from 6 a.m. on another app. And then I bring YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook in at 6:30, right? And I continue with sipping my cocoa and bringing you real talk and inspiration and community love and positive vibes, okay? I also have a podcast which is called Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast. And I record and upload the podcast every Monday. And you can listen to it anytime on YouTube, where all the podcasts are. So last week I just took a break. I didn't up I re, did not upload, didn't record or upload the podcast. I plan to do that today. And I didn't go live on Wednesdays and Thursdays. The only thing I did last week was I posted inspiration and motivation. And every Tuesday and Thursday, I post inspiration and motivation across all my platforms. And then on Monday night and Wednesday nights, I will be going live in the evening on one of the other apps. So it's a lot on my plate, but it is necessary because I am building the community of Cup of Cocoa and Chat for my listeners. And I do have a few regulars on each one of the platforms, right? So each platform I do have a few listeners, but I share all of the same content. Excuse me. I share all of the content on all of my platforms. So if you miss it on one platform, you can catch it on another, depending on where you're following and where you're subscribing from. But just about everything that I post is here on YouTube. So, so the community, I just want to sip, chat, and grow together as the community gets bigger. And I come with trending topics that will resonate with you if you're a part of the African American community, or it's pretty much diverse, right? My message is for everyone. Sometimes it's a little sprinkles of just for my African American community. However, I always make it very I expand it. In other words, I expand it out to all the communities, right? Because this is a diverse platform. So let's get right into it. So I've been doing a couple of different segments, and last week I did a segment about walking in peace, right? And I did a segment of feeling it, naming it, and releasing it. And then I followed that up with making sure that everyone knows that once you feel it, once you have named it, and once you have released it, peace comes. And the segment of walking in peace was pretty much to give you what that looks like once you have felt it, named it, and released it. How peace comes in and how you walk with peace. But sometimes we get so stagnated that we have peace, but we don't know how to walk it out, right? We think that once we receive the peace, that everything's okay. And sometimes just receiving the peace and sitting in the peace is just not enough. Which gave me the idea to come up with this segment to walk it out, right? And what that looks like. So our talking points today: number one, release is a doorway, not a detour. Right? Because of a lot of us release it, but we never walk through that doorway. Number two, peace gives you permission to pivot. Okay? Walking away honors the clarity and the peace. Walking away honors the clarity that peace has given you. Okay? So walking away honors the clarity and the peace that gave and I don't know why I'm not saying that correctly, guys. Walking away honors the clarity that peace gave us. Okay? And then number four, even Jesus walked away to fulfill what was ahead. So the segment goal today is to empower everyone to understand that choosing to walk away from situation, relationships, habits, environments that no longer serve your peace is not a sign of weakness or retreat, but an act of courage, clarity, and growth. By the end of this segment, you will be able to embrace that walking away is not quitting, it's choosing progress with purpose. It's choosing progress with purpose, okay? And let's get some light in here. All right, so you can see me a little better. Okay? So, recap from Walking in Peace. We talked about walking in peace, how peace isn't just a warm and quiet feeling. It's a signpost, a compass. Sometimes we're praying for peace, and when it shows up, we don't realize it's giving us a new direction, right? We talked about the fact that peace follows release. Peace is a receipt, and peace doesn't mean life is perfect, okay? It means you've gotten clarity on what matters. But here's where we go deeper. Peace isn't where you stop, right? So don't just sit in the peace, right? That's not where we stop. It's where you start. That moment of clarity, that calm, the deep breath you took after something heavy was lifted, that wasn't the end. That was God saying, now that you've got your peace, let's walk it out. And sometimes walking it out means walking away, just simply walking away. Remember, peace isn't the finish line. It's your starting point. Peace isn't the finish line. It's your starting point. So as long as you remember, once you felt it, whether it was disappointment, hurt, shame, and you finally name it, then you want to release it. And that's when the peace and the clarity comes in. But once peace has arrived, once God has given you peace, don't just sit in it. Walk it out. Okay? All right, so release is a doorway, not a detour. Sometimes when people walk away, it's painted as quitting, running, or breaking down. But in truth, release is a doorway. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Holding on to what's broken, holding on to what's toxic, holding on to something that's simply expired can delay your next chapter. So when I think about release, I think about a hot air balloon, okay? As long as it's tethered to the ground, it can't rise. But when those ropes are cut, it begins to lift. And that's what release does. It cuts ties with what's holding you back so you can go higher. Many of us are praying for a new season, but refusing to let go of people, habits, environments that don't fit where you're headed. And it's okay. It's okay. I'm here to tell you today that it's okay. It's okay. You can let it go. People that don't mean you peace, old habits that are not giving you peace, environments that are not giving you peace, they don't have to go where you headed. They don't have to go where you're headed, okay? You can't carry everything and still move forward. Okay? You think about if you're carrying something heavy, right? And it's really heavy, right? A lot of times we put it down, right? Because it's heavy. I know I do. If something's really heavy and I'm struggling with carrying it, I will put it down, right? And then I pick it back up. And then I carry it forward. And I may set it down 2 or 3 times. That's okay, right? But I'm here to tell you, if it's heavy, you don't have to keep lifting it and carrying it. You can let it sit where it is and move on with it. Let the next person pick it up. Let somebody else carry it. You don't have to carry it yourself. Okay? Because you can't carry everything and still move forward in freedom. Because that's ultimately what we're looking for, right? The freedom of that stress, the freedom of that bad relationship, the freedom of that bad friendship, the freedom of that bad environment, right? We want to move forward. So sometimes walking forward means walking away from all narratives, from people pleasing, from what ifs. And when you do, you'll realize you didn't detour. You stepped through a doorway you didn't know was waiting for you. So that's what we mean when we say that it's a doorway and not a detour. There's a doorway waiting for you, not a detour, okay? Have you ever let go of something that felt hard in the moment, but once you did, things open? That happens to us a lot, right? We let go of something that felt hard in that moment, and things took a turn for the better. It could have been a job that was where you weren't happy, and you decided to let it go and take that other job, and doors started opening. You know, you walking through the hallway and doors just opening for you because you let what didn't deserve you, you let it go. So that's not a detour. That's destiny calling, right? That's destiny calling. We always second guess ourselves, and we should not, because if you have an idea and you let yourself talk you out of your idea, how will you know if that idea ever worked? How do you know if that idea was the best idea or the greatest idea? Do you think that inventors who invented all of the things that we enjoy today, if they had talked themselves out of it, we would never enjoy some of the things that we enjoy today? So if you have an idea, stop talking yourself out of your idea, because you'll never know if that idea is the one unless you let yourself move into the idea. Let yourself marinate the idea. Let yourself develop the idea. All the things that are necessary to move forward with your idea, you talked yourself out of it. And we need to stop that, because sometimes we are our worst enemies. Okay? So once you have peace, it gives you permission to pivot. Now, pivot. You say pivot. When have we heard a lot? That word a lot, I mean. So 2020, right? When the pandemic came in, Businesses had to pivot. People had to pivot. Like, things changed drastically before our eyes, right? And that's when you started hearing people talk about pivoting more. That was more talked about. So peace gives you permission to pivot. Peace is often misunderstood. People think it's just the absence of conflict. But peace is a holy green light. It's the gentle whisper of God saying, you didn't have to fight this anymore. I'm sorry, you don't have to fight this anymore. You can go now. Some of us are stuck because we don't feel justified in leaving. We don't feel like we have enough reason. But hear me when I say, you don't need permission from people when God has already given you peace. Part of that people pleasing again, right? If God has given you permission to step into that peace, you don't need permission from anybody else. That peace is your permission. It's your divine yes. You don't need chaos to confirm it's time to go. Sometimes peace will come quietly, and that's your cue to pivot. Excuse me. Pivoting means you don't have to crash and burn to change direction. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Peace says you're outgrown this. Let's go another way. And when you trust it, you'll find yourself walking in a new strength and freedom. So I remember when I retired in 2017, right? I had peace long before I had the answers, right? My mind has started moving towards retiring in 2015. In 2015 is the year my mom died. And several months into 2015, so from January of 2015, so January the 30th to be exact, from January the 30th 2015 until I want to say April 3rd or something like that of 2015. I don't remember the exact date. I remember the exact date that it happened for me, but I don't remember the exact date that I walked back into what didn't give me peace anymore. But I took a leave of absence from work. It became stressful. It was too much for me. Prior to my mother getting sick, because she got sick, and it was very quick. But prior to her getting sick, I would call my mother on the phone 2, 3, 4 times, maybe more, in an 8-hour day, right? Because I was so stressful, and I knew that I didn't want to do this anymore. I didn't want to do that job anymore, and but I had to pay my bills. I had to provide for my family, and it was just something that just came over me, from January to April, when I had to step back into that job. I knew that I didn't want to do it anymore. So from April of 2015 until I finally signed the papers to retire in October or November of 2017, I knew at that point when I signed them papers that I already had my answer for peace, but I was too afraid to step into peace, not knowing what was going to happen next, right? So, like I said, I didn't know exactly what was next, but I had peace long before I had answers. So I knew I was done where I was, and that was my pivot. That peace made space for my purpose to grow. And I didn't even tell anybody. I told a few people, a few close friends, that I was retiring. And I didn't share it with my supervisor, who is one of the best supervisors I had ever had. So it wasn't her fault. It was just I was getting fed up, and it was just craziness. So I digress. But that was my time that I pivot and I walked through the doorway. Okay? So walking away honors the clarity peace gave you. Let me say this gently but clearly. Don't ignore the clarity God gave you just to keep someone else comfortable. Okay? Don't ignore the clarity God gave you just to keep someone else comfortable. When peace shows up, it's not random. It's a gift. It's a moment of spiritual alignment. Ignoring it to avoid conflict or out of fear is like walking away from a clear map and choosing to wander. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you finally understood. You saw the pattern, you heard the message, you realized staying would cost you more than leaving ever could. And walking away honors the clarity. It says, I trust what I've been shown. I don't need more signs. I'm walking in truth now. And that's what happened to me, right? Eventually. But that's what happened. Clarity without action is just confusion in disguise. So once you get clarity and you don't act on it, you're still left in confusion. Some sort of confusion. So if you've prayed, cried, journaled, fasted, and finally felt peace about a decision, don't dishonor that by second guessing yourself. Walking away is sometimes the highest form of self-respect. Okay? So our last talking point is even Jesus walked away to fulfill what was ahead. Now let's just take it all the way home. Even Jesus said yes and walked away. He walked away from the crowds when they didn't understand him. He walked away to pray. He walked away from familiar town to fulfill his calling. He even walked away from people who doubted and dismissed him. Why? Because what was ahead required focus, separation, and obedience. Jesus wasn't being rude. He was being aligned. He knew that the purpose doesn't always come with applause. And so do you. So you know it doesn't come with applause, right? Sometimes your biggest breakthrough comes after you walk away from what's familiar but fruitless. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be obedient to the one who called you. So if Jesus, who was perfect, walked away to walk forward, you can too. What are you being invited to walk away from? Could it be fear? Maybe faith? And where have you already received peace and now it's time to move? So think about it. What are you being invited to walk away from? Not in fear, but in faith. What have you already received? Peace. And now it's time to move. Okay. Affirmation. I trust the peace God gave me. I trust the peace God gave me, and walking away is not giving up. It's walking toward what's next. I trust the peace God gave me. Walking away is not giving up. It's walking toward what's next. Okay? I'm going to repeat that one last time. I trust the peace God gave me. Walking away is not giving up. It's walking toward what is next. All right? A scripture you can follow that up with is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21. Whether you turn to the right or turn to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." And that scripture comes from Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21. Whether you turn to the right or whether you turn to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." So that's a wrap for our Walk It Out Wednesday. But before I go, I want to leave you with this thought. Sometimes the bravest step you'll ever take is the one that turns you away from what was and points you toward what could be. Walking away isn't easy, but it's often necessary. And when you do it with peace in your heart and purpose in your step, you're not running, you're rising. So today, don't be afraid to walk away. Your forward may look different, but it's still forward, and God is already there waiting. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to like, share, and invite others to join us here on Cup of Cocoa and Chat. Remember, I go live every Wednesday and Friday at 6:30 a.m. for my YouTube family. I will be back on next Wednesday. Same time, same place. Until then, I want you guys to take care. I want you to be bold. And as always, peace, blessings. I love you guys, and I mean it. Bye for now.